right, Mr. Rogers. How are we hitting it?
Well, hitting everything to the right these days.
Everything's to the right. Okay. Well, why don't you do me a favor? Go ahead and take a swing. Okay. So we pulled that one a little bit, but it aimed one way and the ball's still going another. So let's hit one more. Okay. So why don't we do this? We were talking about aim and alignment. Let's use this alignment stick here to go ahead and get you more onto your target. Get you set up. We're going to aim for this red flag. I want you to make sure we've got your feet, your shoulders, everything kind of aligned. That's good. That's what we worked on earlier. So let's take a swing. It's a little better. It was a little bit left, but it's not right. So it's about right where you were aimed. How'd that feel?
I felt clean. I'd rather hit it like that than
Okay, let's hit one more. We'll do this now. We'll kind of take this away, and now we're going to just work on lining your feet up. Now right down the target line. You step back. Go for it. Go ahead and hit one more. We never want to. We don't want to have that be your swing right there. So we'll try it again. Take your time. Get yourself lined up. So hit one more. We got another ball there before we move to the next person. Do you feel a little bit better though? A little more confident as to where you're aimed?
I do.
Okay.
I didn't realize I was aiming that far off.
Okay. That's okay. Now you're trying to compensate for it, but that's one thing that's good that a lot of students don't say is they didn't realize that they were aiming that far. So now when you do have someone instructing you, it actually helps, so that's good. So keep working on that. You can hit a couple more or step away, get some water if you'd like.
Okay.
And we'll move on to Mr. Mann and see how he's doing. How are we doing over here?
Doing good.
Good. So what are you working on?
Trying to work the ball from right to left.
Okay.
But everything's staying up front.
Okay, so then what we can do is, coincidentally, I have this board here. I was just trying to do that to kind of separate the range, but we can actually use it as a training aid. So go ahead and hit one, and then I'm going to let you use this as a training aid. Okay, so that's just that little tail, that little cut that you're hitting. It's still a nice ball, but if you're trying to change something, you're trying to have that shot in your bag, let's try this. So we have this board here, and we've got this basically to work on a little bit of width in your swing, get a little wider swing, and more of a path. So the path will be coming from the inside rather than outside in, causing a little bit of a pull cut or a little cut. So what I want you to do is I want you to address the ball, and then I want you to reach for this piece of wood here, dragging the club down the line of the club, and then coming at this ball from an inside attack here. So that should, or in theory, make the ball turn over right to left.
Yep.
That ball went right to left, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
How'd that feel?
It felt right.
So, you know, with the two different ball flights, with a cut compared to a draw, we have a little bit of wind into us. So that ball's going to penetrate the wind a little bit easier, and the spin's going to be more of a top spin rather than a back spin like a cut. So when you have a windy day down here in South Florida in the wintertime, well, we're in the spring now, but you're going to have a better chance of getting the ball further with that type of shot. Go ahead and hit one more. Let's just make sure that that drill's working. So yeah, go ahead and address the ball. Good. Take it straight down that stick. Okay, a little bit heavy, but still the ball did go right to left. Good. So that's something that you could work on even at the range on your own. You can even use these sticks, or these boards, excuse me, because we do have them at the range to separate the stalls. You can use them, and it will definitely help you hit that ball right to left.
Felt a lot better.
Good. Well, keep warming up, keep hitting, do what you like to do.
Sure.
We're going to come over here to Dave, Mr. Bouchard.
Yes, sir.
And Dave, what have you been working on?
You mentioned the wind.
Yep.
Lately with the wind, I don't know if I can compensate a little bit. I feel like I've been coming in steep.
Okay, so
I've been hitting the ball kind of heavy.
we call that the angle of attack. So we've got a little bit too steep of an angle, and that steep angle is going to cause you to come straight down on the ball, and usually taking a big pivot. Is that what you've been doing? Okay, so we need to make sure, we need to move the ball maybe around in your stance a little bit. So that's kind of part of the setup you know, we spoke about the PGA, the posture, grip, and the alignment. You still do have kind of the setup where you want the ball in your stance. So what club are you hitting right now?
I'm in an 8-iron.
Okay, so you're hitting an 8-iron. Where do you normally play the ball in your stance?
Pretty center of my stance, a little bit off my left heel.
And that's about where you want to be. So go ahead and take a swing, and we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, that was a pretty good hit ball. That was pretty well hit. Solid. Is that about the distance you normally hit it? Now you notice that you didn't take a divot.
No.
Kind of swept it.
Yeah.
So you think maybe you had the ball a little bit further back in your stance when you were trying to hit it into the wind? People tend to think further back in the stance. That is partially true.
Yeah.
But it does cause a little steeper descent on the ball.
I think I did have a little back of my stance.
Okay. Okay. So that could be something that you could work on. You can work on keeping the ball more in the middle to the front of your stance to get more of a sweeping rather than a real steep dig.
Yeah, because I haven't picked the ball down in a while.
Perfect. Well, that's what we want to keep doing. Keep hitting that.
Okay.
I'm going to grab an aid real quick. Because I know we've been working on Mr. Watney, been talking about impact. So there's a thing called the impact bag, and it's one of the tools that we often use as PGA professionals to control where you're actually coming into the ball and everything, weight, arms, and your turn. So go ahead and take a swing, and then we're going to try this impact bag so we can kind of show you where you need to be on impact. I don't know, that's pretty good. I don't even know if you need the impact bag, but I'd really like to see you hit it though once. So I'll demonstrate for you, show you kind of what you need to do. May I borrow your club? So you see here, we've got kind of a little target. Basically this bag is full of sand, and what this is really trying to simulate is our position at impact. So you don't want to be leaning forward, or you don't want your arms to be coming through or anything like this. You want to be into the bag, all this inertia, everything's pushing forward, and you're hitting this bag like you'd be hitting a ball, but obviously it stops you and it shows you in a really good position. So if I'm going to hit this with a nice full swing, it shows me exactly where I would be at impact. So all this is really doing is just giving you that feeling of driving down through the ball into this bag. Do you want to try this once? Just be careful you don't hit it too hard. You might hurt your shoulder or something, because it does hurt if you hit it too hard. Okay, see that position? Your position is really good there. This bag, this drill is going to keep you from kind of losing kind of the control with maybe rolling the hands over or maybe getting the hips cleared a little bit too early. So it actually is a really good training aid. But go ahead and hit another one. So I think you hit the ball rather well. That was pretty good. Pretty pure. Does that feel pretty good?
That feels great.
Great, great. Well, we're going to keep working on that. Feel free to hit a couple more, and the next thing we'll be working on is some short game stuff.